Hey SVC fans, Shayne Combs coming back to you here at SVC Sports Zone on our YouTube channel. I want to thank Dr. Chris Good for all his ongoing support. And as we talk week 2 football recap, a little bit of the first week we talked about, scheduling continues to be a factor. It's a tough week for the SVC, a 3-5 Friday night. I believe that puts us, 7-9 on the year. Mixed bag in terms of scheduling. Sometimes you play pretty well against a really good team. Sometimes you just outpower a team that's maybe just simply not as good as you. So I think, again, you have to continue to see it with your eyeballs and analyze what you see maybe more than the final score here in these first 3 weeks. I think we're going to have a little bit more of that into the third week. And then as we get into the fourth week with the SVC play, we'll be able to better sort it out. Certainly have a couple undefeated teams. Uniota putting up big numbers. Hoops off to a great start there as one of the experienced signal callers in our league. I think Cutright has been a real breakout star in the league at the wide receiver position. I know Piketon off to a 2-0 start. Gallion leading a balanced attack. I believe they have a defensive score in the first 2 weeks. That's pretty impressive. You certainly don't hate that. So some good things going there. And then as you move down through, obviously, Paint Valley at 1-1, they really tough schedule. Probably the single toughest opponent that the SVC's faced so far in West Jeff. Obviously an outstanding program. Free put up some big numbers again. They're getting that in the passing game. Roberts in there in the week 1 on the ground. So obviously they have some run pass option that's going to be explosive. They'll get older as the year goes on the defensive side of the ball. And then congratulations, Southeastern gets their first win and put up some impressive stat lines doing it. Westfall at the 1-1 as well. Sounds like they didn't play their best football in the first half, but against a really good opponent in Logan Elm there, played a really competitive first half. So even in a loss, there's a lot to build off there. And then, Dina almost pulls off the comeback of the year and falls a little short, but again, they have some skilled kids coming up with some big plays. It'll be interesting to see throughout a variety of teams that they play, what that looks like as we get closer to weeks 4 and 5. And then Huntington continues to play some pretty good defense. Crocker and that offense got in the end zone this week. We certainly know there's some really talented kids there. And then Zane Trace, as I said last week, I wouldn't overreact too much. Do I think this Zane Trace team's quite as good as they were last year? Probably not. But when you play the non-league schedule they play, I wouldn't get too worked up just yet in terms of where they're going to match up in the league until we get there and we start to see how some of these offensive and defensive lines look in weeks 4 through 10. So, as we continue to move forward, that's kind of where we're at. The number one goal here in week 3 is that you come out healthy. I know we have some big matchups, but I look forward to getting through one more week of non-conference play and seeing if we can't get an SVC football. Certainly, you're going to have your favorites as always, but there's an avenue of parity there that could take over into this league. In certain areas of the standings that we haven't seen in quite some time. So again, real excited to follow it. Continue to follow John Bruce and some of the updates. I'm excited to also bring you some volleyball coverage here. Make sure you're checking out Expanding the Zone here on the YouTube channel as well. And we'll continue to follow the SVC throughout the year. Thanks, everyone.